here and you want to wank yourself off to the work that black people, marginalized people are doing. But then at the same time, you won't even put them at the front line of your bullshit website. Shut the f up. You useless, lipless.
Bro, this is so obnoxious.
What she said on that panel was racist. It was racist. It was racist microaggressions. She was racist.
So either Z steps down from the position of being the organizer of the pack, supporting the tour, or the tour leaves the pack.
I'm happy that people can call me out, and I really want people to call me out. And I want people in my community and in Dean's community to feel more comfortable with calling us out when we do things that are wrong, because what we did definitely was wrong. We definitely should have addressed it earlier. That is something that needs to be taken accountability from.
Women definitely black people
You're
have...
just,
No, hold on, wait, just
like,
listen to what I'm saying.
outright.
Please hear me out, please.
No.
Just let me, hear me out. Okay, well then, f off then. Because so far I've brought up 3 people. Not one of them is willing to tell me what the microaggression is. Not one. I'm sorry. Like, if a black person talks to me like this, I'm talking to them like this. I got banned. So apparently there's some sort of tour that's going on where they have a bunch of TikTokers, like popular TikTokers and political TikTokers going on. And it says taking the fight to Charlie Kirk and the far right. So it seems like they're going and finding people who are doing events, and then they're showing up to them with all of these TikTokers. This isn't a protest, it's a movement. They're bringing chaos, they're building a movement. Charlie Kirk got billionaire backers. We've got something they can't buy, the truth. The Unfuck America tour is now hitting the road. They were doing these tours, and then this guy came out with this video.
This video might get me into legal trouble, but you guys gave me a platform for a reason, and I'm not going to take that for granted fucking ever. Remember that. Remember that. I know who gave me this platform. I'm on my way.
Remember that, guys. He starts off by saying, this might get me into legal trouble. Like, he sounds like he's getting ready to, like, end his own career right now. But he's like, you guys remember who gave me this platform, okay? You guys remember. I am doing this out of the bravery of my own heart. I'm ready to take the sword for everybody else. Please remember that I did this for you.
This video might get me into legal trouble, but you guys gave me a platform for a reason, and I'm not going to take that for granted fucking ever. Remember that. Remember that. I know who gave me this platform. I'm on my way to Texas for the Unfuck America tour. Basically, they sponsored a trip for a bunch of us creators to go and fuck with Charlie Kirk at Texas A&M. And at first, I was a little apprehensive to take it because I don't like the Jubilee fucking, we're here to debate, I'm not going to platform conservatives, whatever, like stupid bullshit, right? I don't.
What does that mean? He's not here for the Jubilee. We're here to debate. I'm not going to platform conservatives. What the fuck does that mean? Does this guy ever... Is he saying that Jubilee refuses to platform conservatives? Or is he saying he doesn't like to debate because he's not going to platform conservatives? What is this content?
There was a trans person in the Walmart! He touched my hand! I don't know what it was! I don't know!
There's a gender non-conforming queer person pouring my coffee.
Okay, I can't.
Know who gave me this platform. I'm on my way to Texas for the Unfuck America tour. Basically, they sponsored a trip for a bunch of us creators to go and fuck with Charlie Kirk at Texas A&M. And at first, I was a little apprehensive to take it because I don't like the Jubilee fucking, we're here to debate, I'm not going to platform conservatives, whatever, like stupid bullshit, right? I don't fucking like that shit. But a lot of my friends, people that I've grown to like on this app who are very intelligent, were going, and I was like, oh wow, okay, cool, so maybe this is something completely different. I ended up signing on, right? Turns out, the lead organizer, who was horrible at organizing, by the way, I want to point that out, had no clue, still have no clue what the fuck we're even going there to do. I actually have a whole other plan planned. I don't know what the fuck anybody else is doing, but I'm going there to do something actually dope as fuck. But anyway, the lead organizer, turns out she's incredibly racist. She hopped on a live last night where a bunch of black women, women creators on this app, who are obviously in the political space, were a little upset, voicing their concerns, talking about how they felt about the Unfuck America tour. And the lead organizer didn't like that very much, and so she hopped on there to spew, anti-black rhetoric, especially towards black women, making them sound like bullies and aggressive, and it was really gross. It was really gross. There's no way you watch this and don't think she's racist, by the way. Like, I went into it going like, what happened? Is this you know what I mean? Like I need to make sure what happened before I come and give any information to anybody, okay? There is no other way to interpret what she did. She was just being racist. Like telling them that because black women are involved, and how could it be problematic they didn't invite black women on this trip doing the thing that black women have been doing the best forever? I also want to point out, before she joined, they were being incredibly respectful from what I saw. Okay? And even if they weren't, you're the fucking organizer for unfucking...
Brandon, 3 months at Fools 2. Let's go, dude. So yeah, he's saying that they were being super racist. I have very little confidence in this. Just watched a video on these guys. Maximum cringe. The controversy, not a movement. This is so weird. Like, I have very little faith that this is actually going to be super racist, but
Fuck America. You're the face of the brand. You're the one reaching out to creators. You reached out to me. Who the fuck cares if someone has an opinion of Unfuck America that doesn't jive with whatever the fuck you think it is? I don't know that her views reflect that of the entirety of the Unfuck America tour. So, personally, I have one gripe with one person, the person who organized this, who was the person who decided not to include a lot of black women on this trip. And I also think I can do her job better than her. So here's what I want you guys to do. Down below, tag your favorite BIPOC women creators, okay? Tag them below so they see this video. And if you guys see this video, if you can make it to Texas A&M on April 22nd, right? April 22nd, let's all meet up. Let's all make some content together. Let's all grow your platforms to the size that mine are, while telling Unfuck America to go fuck itself until they get this racist out of the organization spot. Deal? Deal. Okay. Unfuck America, feel free to reach out to me because I'm sure you're going to have a lot of questions about this video, and I'm very sorry to tell you this, but I do not care. Also want to point out for the record, my views are my views alone. Any creators that I may be involved with or friends with, they do not share the same sentiments. However, if you are a creator friend of mine, we're probably friends because I think you're dope as shit. So if you want to meet up while we're at Texas A&M, shoot me a DM or something like that. A couple of you were already meeting up, obviously. Love you guys. I also want to say that I'm sorry to everyone that follows me. I know you expect more from me, and there will be more in the future.
Shut the fuck up. He didn't even do anything. I'm sorry, really sorry that I did this. You didn't even do anything. He's just apologizing, and he didn't even admit to doing anything wrong. What the fuck? I know you expect more from me. More from you than what? Then what? He didn't even say, like, I really fucked up here. He didn't even, like, do anything. And now it's, oh man, I can't believe I did this. I really let you guys down.
There's no excuse. I should have been more discerning with who I was doing business with, and I will be in the future.
Really, just a discussion about this Enough America tour thingy with Dean Parker, and I think other people are going to go. Now, I did try to go on their website. Right here, on their website, because this is from the actual Enough America account. They don't have the link in their bio yet, so I had to look it up, and I did look it up. And I'm thinking they'll have like a roster, like who's all coming and everything, you know, like who's going to be like there, but they don't. But I have seen there is a few black creators that have reposted this, so I do wonder. Like, I know Santana should be going as well. Santana's has become fairly popular on this app, also debating like politics and Trump and everything. But I don't know if he's actually going to be like doing any debates or anything. Essentially, what this is about is Dina Parker and a few other, I believe a few other people. Like I said, I haven't seen who's all going to be there. Right, I don't know who's actually going to be actively a part of this little tour thingy, right? I really don't know. But what I have seen is that supposedly Dana Parker and a few other people are going to be following Charlie Kirk along his tour of going to different colleges and pretty much like debating people in these colleges and just having conversations with people in these colleges. And Charlie Kirk supposedly has been running from Charlie Kirk. I'm sorry, Charlie Kirk has supposedly been running from these two. I seen Parker recently, like last month, I believe, pretty much was at one of his little like meetups at a college. I don't know where. What's the prompt? I'm sorry, I'm looking at something else. I don't know necessarily where, and he pretty much called him out about like what Elon Musk did a few months ago about the whole, pretty sure that was actually in November, about his little, schnazi salute. Yeah, and he was like, yeah, like, how do you feel about this? Like, I haven't seen you, like, really say anything. And then Charlie Kirk tried to pull no, he was like, my heart goes out to you. He didn't even do it like Elon Musk did it. So it was, like, a whole ordeal and everything. But yeah, no, y'all, it's just, but the difference is,
Yeah, Charlie Kirk he did do that, and he was like, no, it was this. It was this. That's all he did. He just did this, and you guys called it a Nazi salute. No, it was very different.
says people feel some type of way about people. Hold on, let me put it on my bigger one because this is throwing me off. Because I can't, like, I know some people say they can see it just fine, but
Oh, I had just sent a message in the thing, but I guess I'll just say it here. I watched a couple videos so I can be informed. But I don't know. Like, I've never thought their content was for someone like me. 1, I'm black. 2, I'm a woman. 3, I'm politically informed and inclined. But like, to me, their content has always been like for like young liberals or like mid-tier conservative boys who love this kind of debate content.
So just for anybody who doesn't know, so this is why we can pretty consistently differentiate like leftist and liberal. Is leftists and liberals hate each other. They don't like each other. But conservatives just call anybody who's left of center leftist. Whereas like on the left is normally a liberal. Whereas a leftist is like a Marxist, a communist, a socialist. Like they are very far gone people. And this is how they talk about things, is they'll say, well, actually, I'm politically informed. But if you go talk to them, you'll find out they are very, very uninformed people. Like insanely uninformed. They have absolutely no idea what they're talking about. They just get like little tiny talking points. And they're, you know, the way that people talk about MAGA being very uninformed, they just have their talking points. Leftists are exactly the same people. They just have their little tiny talking points. They know how to repeat what they heard some other content creator like Hassan say. And then that's it. But it's kind of weird because over on TikTok, that people like Parker seems to be a liberal. Dean does not seem to be a liberal. He seems to be like kind of far left progressive into like the identity politics shit and crap like that. And Dean is like got really offended when Dean identifies as a liberal though. He thinks he's just a liberal. He doesn't seem to understand the difference between like a liberal, a progressive, a leftist, like, and so over on TikTok they have like these very different terms that they use outside of the norm. And did you just try to pretend that you're not far left? Yeah, that's what I did.
But it goes back to that, and I hate to say it, although I said, her argument alone, I can agree with. Like, yes, we should be putting Black voices, we should be putting more marginalized groups of people in the front lines. However, when we talk about like the movement actually being able to get somewhere and be heard of, I do think it was a very smart move to put Dean and Parker in the front lines. I do, because first and foremost, they do have really big platforms. They obviously have people that will actively follow them, donate to them, this, that, and the other. So it makes sense for them to be like the quote unquote voice of this movement or this like whole tour thing.
This is. Yeah, I know PFP probably wants to go too, but I just want to say this. I just want to say this really quick too. I think we have to be honest. It's not just them really that's the issue. It's the audience, right? They did it. They got on this app and did what a bunch of us are doing. People still decided that their voices were worth hearing, and I think that's something that you, who probably share an audience with those men, really should be talking about. Why do y'all come to these white people over Black and brown people?
That is also that's
don't
a really
hold
good
them accountable for like their I'm not saying don't hold them accountable for like their past actions or whatever. Like, fine, sure, we can do that, but I don't think it's fair just to be like, I don't care about them. And your audience share an audience with them, and that's an audience that values the opinions of white people over everybody else. So to me, to just be like, it should be leading with Black and brown people, talk to your audience. But anyway, PFP probably wants to go.
Yeah, I'm gonna let them rock. Go ahead, PFP.
Literally none of this has made sense. I feel like they contradict themselves every like 2 sentences. I'm gonna skip forward a little bit and see
where this goes. You is first and foremost. You're a disrespectful white man. First and foremost, it is a little bit weird for you to argue points that you yourself don't necessarily agree with. Second of all, you want things to be very, very like nice,
black and white.
Yeah, very not not even black and white.
Polite.
You want very polite.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah.
You want them to be very polite to oppositions, even if they don't deserve it. At that point, I think that's just you trying to, I guess, I hate to say it, I think that's just being, catering, and I think that's just very performative. Why would they do that?
Yeah, I don't know how much like revolutionary. Like, I don't know how much revolutionary work or anything like that you've like witnessed or read about or watched, Bryson, but you'll find like
see, this is what I'm talking about. Revolutionary work. Like, they're talking about revolutionary work. Liberals are not trying to do revolutionary work. Liberals like the system that we have. They like the Constitution that we have. They like the checks and balances that we have. They like the separations of power that we have. Like, they like that shit. They just want to improve things under this system. They don't want to revolutionize our fucking government whatsoever. Revolutionaries are kind of opposed to liberals because even right now, I mean, when we talk about like the way that Donald Trump is like defying court orders, the way that he's deporting people against the law, the way that he's like refusing to listen to judges, and all of these different things where he's trying to continuously go outside the bounds of the law to get things done. Yeah, obviously, this is the stuff that liberals are going to have a problem with, because we like our laws. We like our institutions. We like the way that things are, because these are liberal institutions.
As a matter of fact, I don't want y'all, once again, I don't want all my mutuals up here. If you are a part of this tour, space is open for y'all. Just letting you guys know. If you're part of the tour, if you have some type of way, I would love to hear from you guys. That is my only issue with that. It's just that I wish that instead of like verifying it's really more to like mess with Charlie Kirk, so I wish that it was more spread out to like what you, Chris, and what Hannah, and what Mermaid, and even what the other, I'm sorry, I keep on forgetting his name, what Simple Black Theory was saying. Yeah, but right. Like, I wish that it was more clear on that.
And on top of that, right, again, everybody keeps coming up here with different ideas of what's going to happen. And, it's probably just because this is incredibly disorganized, frankly. But the fact that, like, everybody, I think what Simply's trying to do with the flyers, I think what Chris is trying to do, I think what Mermaid wants to do is great. 100%. I think that's fantastic. I think it should have been discussed far more in that first promotional video in this website. And, like, I think you guys have altruistic good goals. But then you have Z, the person who is doing this, is saying the point of this is to register voters. So to us, it's just confusion.
Yeah.
That's. Again, I'm not even. I just want to say this really quickly. I'm not opposed to this. I am team. Get on that gummy man's ass.
Yeah, literally.
Absolutely, he more than deserves it. Yeah, but my whole thing is like, it's sad.
Bye, Chris. Thank you for coming up here. Appreciate it.
Oh, bye. What's sad is that
it feels... That's the part of this right here. 1 second.
Okay, perfect. It's sad that like what these black people. I think Hannah was truly.
I want to make sure, no, Z, I want to hear from them. This is their campaign. This is their thing. I would love to hear from you, Z, but I was in the middle of speaking, and I'm actually going to put myself back on big screen so there's no confusion. Sorry about that. All right, so just to clarify once again.
So the guy earlier said, the guy in this video said that the organizer went onto the panel and said some blatantly racist shit.
But anyway, the lead organizer, turns out she's incredibly racist. She hopped on a live last night where a bunch of black women,
Yeah, talks with Allie, a bunch of black women. Okay, so this is the right thing.
Creators on this app who are obviously in the political space were a little upset, voicing their concerns, talking about how they felt about the Unfuck America tour. And the lead organizer didn't like that very much, and so she hopped on there to spew, anti-black rhetoric, especially towards black women, making them sound like bullies and aggressive, and it was really gross. It was really gross. There's no way you watch this and don't think she's racist, by the way.
Okay, so there's no way we watch this and don't think she's racist. So this is her jumping on right now, I believe.
Want y'all to come up here, speak your piece and everything and all that, right? We'll try to be as respectful and everything. And I'm really not liking the fact that in the comments, it's like suddenly you guys forgot why we are having this conversation. It's not the fact that this is going to be hosted. It's whether it's going to be a net negative or whether it's going to be quote unquote harmful or more positive. That is the entire point of the conversation. We're not saying don't have it. We're not saying don't have the tour. We're not saying that we disagree with the tour, right? I think it's great. I think it's going to be funny. I'm pretty sure there's going to be some great things that are going to be talked about. But the conversation is also about how marginalized people are going to possibly experience, like what they're going to experience after the tour, or what's actually going to be happening during the tour. You guys aren't actually listening to us, and that is the issue.
The fact that these two white boys are the headliners.
You guys are putting words in our mouth.
This is dumb as fuck. Like, I haven't heard them say anything when they say, well, the problem is, what are black people going to experience during this tour? I don't know. Why the fuck is that even a concern? Do you do this everywhere? Do you like call grocery stores before you go and you're just like, hey, listen, I would really love to come in there and shop for some avocados, but I'm really not sure what a black woman is going to experience inside of your grocery store. So I would just like to know that you guys are willing to actually hear out marginalized voices on maybe too many bruises on the pears. And wanted to make sure that if I wanted maybe some fresher apples, that you would be willing to hear a marginalized voice on this. Is that... Am I able to get some confirmation on how a black woman would be treated within your establishment? Like, do they do this everywhere? Do they not go anywhere without checking first? Because this is kind of like what I think normally you would just assume that you're going to be treated fairly, you're going to be treated fine, unless you see signs that you would be treated unfairly, right? This isn't like Jim Crow era days where we're in 2025 right now. Like we're now looking at Jim Crow. That doesn't mean problems don't exist, but it does mean that by far the majority of the time you're not going to have the same problems that we're talking about back then, unless we're talking about like everybody's hair was actually straightened at this event. And I really feel like that's a microaggression because as a black woman, my hair does not naturally grow the same way that white women's do. And I feel like very marginalized and silenced by the fact that all of the women had straight hair there. And I wanted to make sure that maybe in the future you guys would ask people to maybe get a perm or maybe wear a weave or something. I'd like to hit the like button, but I'm not I'm not sure how marginalized groups might be affected by hitting it. I mean, look, hitting the like button is actually going to push me into the algorithm a little bit more, and you gotta realize what marginalized voices, how another white man being boosted, another white man being in the front talking without even having on a black woman. He keeps pausing black women to speak over marginalized voices. And now you're boosting that into the algorithm because YouTube is always trying to push white supremacy in this colonizer language.
When we've been very clear and particular about what we've been trying to say.
But when you say,
Z, I wasn't talking. I wasn't talking about you.
Y'all will fucking holler. Shut up.
I wasn't talking about you, Z. I was just saying other people in the comments. I don't think you said shit about like me or anything.
Sorry, I think it's happening again. Where when we say these two white boys at the front, people's cognitive dissonance goes, I don't know what you're saying.
Right, they make it seem like we're talking shit about them. Exactly.
They genuinely think that like we. Why are you talking? We're not talking to you.
Can you
Okay.
like Shane has been quiet this entire time. I don't understand why you can't do the same.
Okay.
Yeah, and Shane. Yeah. Shane, technically, Z, before you go, Shane has been here first. So I would love to hear from them.
I do not mind waiting.
This is so weird. Dude, okay. I understand what you're trying to do, but I would tell Shane and literally everybody else on the panel to fuck off. And I would say, hey guys, we're all here talking about this movement. We're all here talking about this organization. And we just got the lead organizer on the panel. So I'm going to have to drop all of you so I can have a conversation with this person real quick. But instead, she's like, actually, Z, I know we just spent the last 4 hours, over 4 hours talking about you and your organization, but I'm just going to need you to pipe down for a minute so that more marginalized voices can be heard. What's up, Kelly?
Respectful.
I do not mind waiting
really,
because I would rather let it marinate, and I would like to say something to speak on things as well. But I also know the space I'm in. I am a white man, so let me know when it's good to clear. I'm gonna put it on mute, and please, Z.
I'm a white man. You guys let me know when I'm allowed to talk because I'm white. I don't know if you guys saw the thumbnail for today, but I put this.
if you want to say something to address this, because I think it's important. Or me? Okay,
She can
I'm allowed
speak
to talk?
when I let her speak.
Okay. I just want to make sure I follow the rules, because, like, for real, I want to be cognizant of the space that I'm in, because I'm still a white individual. And
Cringe, dude. Shut the fuck up.
You don't have to do that. Just jump right in. Yeah, Jane, I promise you.
Listen, no, you
don't
have to set examples. No, hell no. Don't tell me I don't have to do that, because you have to set examples for the other white motherfuckers that don't know what's up.
I have to set an example by coming up here and sitting down and shutting up and listening to the rest of you. I know that I could have done that from the chat, and I didn't have to come up here to do that, but I wanted to make sure that everybody saw me sit down and shut up and listen.
Because for real, listen.
What's up, Checkmate?
Okay. Z, I want to actually, I didn't know you were going to even come up here, but I now just want to say something just in terms of the harm. I host a podcast.
Bro, you knew Z was up there before you even started talking. Holy fucking cringe, dude. He knew Z was on there before they said, Z, if I know that you want to speak, but actually we're going to let this guy go first. And then he's like, oh no, I couldn't possibly. No, I'm white. I need to be quiet. I could not possibly say anything. I have to shut my white voice down. But after saying all of that, I did just realize that Z is on here, and so I would like to say...
I host a podcast with a black trans woman, and simultaneously, I have to be aware as a producer of the difference experience that she has and the harm that she experiences when I create these episodes, and even in the hate comments and everything that I do not experience because I am white, male, passing, presenting, etc., etc., etc. Blossom, my co-host, experiences extreme harm. So I think what I've heard so far on the panel and what I've kind of seen so much, and I'm going to be as quick as possible, the Unfuck tour to me feels really inauthentic. I think it started out as a great idea.
Oh, that seems inauthentic. Oh, that seems inauthentic. After all of this that you just said, that's what seems inauthentic. So true, King. So true, bro.
Maybe for two guys personally to do something, and then they might have received some backlash, and they're like, okay, let's last minute add some folks of color because now we got to diversify it. And that's kind of what it feels like to me. It feels not planned out. It feels like
you're wrong.
No, hold on. But before, I'll give you plenty of time. And I'm sure there's a lot of information I don't know, and I will always acknowledge that because that's just what we're being presented on the internet too. You have to also acknowledge that's what we're all consuming from what's being put out, especially by Dean and Parker.
Oh my goodness.
I experienced Dean and Parker on the set personally with Julie. And I had issues with that alone in the way that they took up space, especially when there was a lot of women that were there that wanted to talk on women's issues, but these two wanted to fight for the chair so hard. And I will always be very uncomfortable with that because a lot of people flew from different...
They wanted to fight for the chair. If you guys know what this is, it's where they all show up to Jubilee and they're all sitting in chairs around the edges. And then there's a chair sitting across from somebody like Ben Shapiro. And if they want to, they can, like, when the horn blows, they all have to race to get to the chair. And he's saying that if Dean and Parker race to get to the chair, instead of allowing a black woman to speak or a trans woman to speak or something like that, then they were speaking over them. And this was really problematic, and I really didn't like this. This is so annoying, dude. Why can't black liberals start their own tour? Kelly, again, they're not fucking liberals. Stop it. Stop. They're not liberals. They're fucking progressives. They're leftists. They are not liberals.
Different states. And these two gentlemen were, you can even see them sliding on camera for Jubilee, taking away time and space when they had a platform. They could have just had their one moment and moved on and let those other folks speak. So I've seen Dean and Parker not only do that, but go on lives talking about trans issues, saying incorrect things, saying they know a trans person when I shook their hand on set. I have no clue who these gentlemen are, and it was a really weird live that I watched, and I was really uncomfortable them using my name.
Bro, he's going off on such a fucking rant that has nothing to do with what they're talking about. This has absolutely nothing to do with what they're talking about. This is so annoying. Shut the fuck up.
While simultaneously, like, saying incorrect information about trans people. So I can only imagine the harm that anybody of color, especially black women, like Julianne experience. I don't know her full story. We actually did a podcast together, self-promotion, sorry, shameless. And her story is really important to actually learn about how the effects of everything that happened to her and the platform that she has, why she does it, what she's trying to do, because yes, Dean and Parker have done some stuff and they've made some waves, and I will give them flowers for that. I will acknowledge that. But at the same time, you know, I've gone on debate lives and I've noticed this toxic kind of pissing contest that they've now created of this like...
Bro, this went from no, I couldn't possibly speak, I couldn't possibly take away time from anybody else, to like now a fucking 5-minute speech about Dean and Parker. What the fuck, dude? Shut the fuck up.
Let's get information and data and da-da-da-da-da, and there's not this real human connection. And the people like myself, who is a minority, and folks that have color and so many different...
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. This is, again, this is the same shit that the conservatives do, where this guy is like whining and crying about BLM, and so I come in and say that this is fucking retarded, and then we have these other fucking conservatives who are like, wow, I can't believe you're telling a black man about his own experiences. Shut the fuck up. Like, his black skin is fucking irrelevant here, dude. I don't fucking care.
Folks that are actually marginalized, the conversation's no longer really about changing people. It's about a pissing contest of who can slam dunk on each other and who can get the most Venmos from this person and that person. And I'm sorry, like, that to me has not done what it is being promoted to be doing. I'm watching this toxic rhetoric form in so many shape or ways on TikTok lives, and there's no real consequences in the same way that I see Charlie Kirk talk about these issues. Dean and Parker will never experience what it's like to be trans. They'll never experience what it's like to be black. And when they're constantly speaking on those issues, it makes myself very uncomfortable. It makes a lot of people very uncomfortable.
These same people will get upset if they don't speak on the issues. You know they will. These same exact people will be like, I'm really upset that you refuse to use your platform to speak on trans issues and to stick up for them. And you, as a white man with your white privilege, you should be cognizant of all of your privileges and continue to stand up for marginalized groups. Like, they will do the exact fucking opposite whenever it's convenient. It doesn't matter which one it is, they will find one way or another to come out and virtue signal about this bullshit.
Uncomfortable because they're never going to fully have the lived experience of what that's like, and there's going to be a lot of gaps in their education of what they're saying. There's going to be a lot of things that are harmful that they're not even going to experience. They're just going to hang up their TikTok phone, enjoy their little PayPal requests, and move on with their life. And to me, it's like, I literally have to worry about a passport right now. I have to worry about possibly being sent to El Salvador because they're talking about mentally ill trans people. It's not a life that is easy to live. And I think the Unfuck Tour could have done better with reaching out to more folks, including myself. I mean, I'm the only person in the history of this planet that's ever shut down Ben Shapiro, and I'm kind of disappointed that I wasn't even reached out to in any way, shape, or form.
Oh my goodness, this has to be a fucking troll, dude. This has to be a fucking troll, dude. This has to be oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Hold on. I bet this is him.
Rights affect me directly.
I bet you anything this is him. This is a trans man, but I think earlier he said like a white male passing person or something like that, and because his co-host wasn't as passing, there's a lot of things that he won't be able to deal with, and because they're black, this person was cringe as fuck, dude.
So if we're talking about the American dream that you live, why don't I have access to that? Because
is that the same voice? What do you guys think? Is that the same voice?
Reform, but I'm not bitter about it in that sense because
yes, that's the same voice.
There's no legislation.
That's the same voice.
What in the history of America that legislates a man's body? So why does mine have?
That guy was the most cringe on the panel. Oh, he was the fucking worst, dude. He was the worst. He was horrible.
Be legislated. I've got a vagina.
I'm not interested in what your genitalia are.
Clearly you are. I mean, it's all over everything you make, buddy. I'm sorry. I hate to say it to you, but
I think you can read on my face that I radically am not. You're really moving around terminology very wildly here.
And so are you, because that's the tactics you play in your game. And you've done it the entire time. You jump from one subject to the next. You speak so fast, and I know how you work. So how's it feel to have it in your face?
Well, I mean...
Because I'm sick and tired...
I'm just going to keep steamrolling. I'm not going to allow you to say anything. I'm really interested in what you have to say about this, but I'm not going to stop for a second to allow you to tell me what it is, even though I'm super interested in hearing it. I'm going to sit here and keep talking for a very long time so that you never get a chance to even answer a single thing that I've said, and then afterwards, I'm going to run around and talk about the fact that I'm the only person who's ever shut you down.
Of the shit that you have put against my community, especially black trans women. Look at where we're at. Surely, where do you think that we're heading? I mean, it's so funny to
See,
watch.
every time he starts to talk, dude, they start talking over him again. It's so fucking embarrassing.
We had, what, 50 men run it and it looks like shit? Look at where we're at. Surely, where do you think that we're heading? I mean, it's so funny to watch white supremacy just fall apart. Let's make women have babies so that we can continue this capitalistic society that we have. Why are we doing
Capitalistic.
I mean, why? Because you
See what I'm talking about? These are not our people. They're fucking communists. They are leftists. These are not our people, dude.
want to push white supremacy and because you want to make your check. It does great for you. Meanwhile, people like me have to live with the consequences of all of your rhetoric that you put on a daily basis, and including my entire community and the intersectionalities of black women.
So close, Ben. So close. You almost got to say something.
And including my entire community.
He leads right up to the fucking mic and they immediately start talking again, dude.
Intersectionalities of black women, men that experience SA, trans people, everyone that comes in. And I'm so sick of how could you do that to your own? Don't you have a daughter? Like, what is wrong with you, dude? I've never.
That's like question number 10 that will not get answered.
Pleasure to meet you.
Okay,
because trans men always get erased, but I think it's really important to understand.
Okay, I gotta skip over this guy.
Not just harming. So I think it's really important.
He's never gonna.
Many different communities, and have these conversations better, and all together we stand.
He's never gonna stop.
Really, I want to follow the rules because, like, for real.
413. He talked for 7 minutes straight.
Z, you are fun. Right yeah, let me not address it. Let me not address it. If you guys are like, for those that are actively listening to what we have to say, I do appreciate y'all. Once again, this is not attack against Dean or Parker. Okay, I do.
It's crazy because
like we've been making that very clear.
We disagree with each other on this topic. I just need to say this really quickly because it's genuinely agitating me. We literally disagree with each other on this topic on how to go about this. I think I've literally said I don't think it's a bad tour. I don't think it's a bad idea. I think it's totally fine to do at the end of the day. But I think it's valid to have questions and criticisms. For instance, what are the protections for the people of color, the marginalized people that will be attending this? Is there going to be more money given to those?
What? You get more money because you're black? What the fuck? You get more money for being black? You're supposed to have like extra bodyguards out there just for black people? What the fuck is happening, dude? This is black supremacy, bro. That's what this is. That's exactly what this is. This is black supremacy, bro. This is fucking wild, dude. What is happening? We get more money because we're black? What the fuck, bro?
To have questions and criticisms. For instance, what are the protections for the people of color, the marginalized people that will be attending this? Is there going to be more money given to those people about giving out these flyers? It shouldn't have taken simply coming up when Hannah was already in here, right? To tell us, actually, no, this is what's happening, and I'll be giving out flyers, and I'll be doing this. Why isn't that more at the forefront of your marketing? I think that's a fair question to ask.
Yeah, and that's you know what? Perfect. Z, she's actually going to be running the campaign, so I would love to hear from her. Or is she her, right, Z?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, but before you go, let me make this very clear. Despite if we disagree with them, we disagree with them. Let her get her point across, and then Z, you have to allow for us to respond, whether it's like negative or not. With that being said, why create this? What was the point?
Also, really quickly, can we not bring up my trauma? Can we not do that?
Yeah, let's not.
Let's not. Yeah.
Irrelevant to the conversation. That's okay.
I'm not saying you did. I'm just saying
in general.
Let's not do it.
I know. It's just as soon as I came up on the panel, you already were going crazy at me. But okay.
I don't. She wasn't saying anything. She was muted.
So I'm just gonna.
Crazy. Let's not do that.
Wait, hold on. Wait, I don't like that. See, let me make this very clear. No, Julianne came up after I already let you up. To be fair. Second of all, the reason why you were getting
was Shane.
Second of all, the reason why you got any energy from any of us, particularly me, because I was the one that first to mute you, was because you completely cut off what I was trying to say to be antagonistic, specifically towards like what we're trying to talk about in here.
Well, I do think that this live is antagonistic. But anyway, I'm just going to say my piece and I'm going to drop.
Oh.
So, but,
okay. Wait, hold on. So you don't want to have a conversation about this at all? See? I actually, we're all here because literally the questions, I'm not sure how long have you been in here, by the way?
I've only been in here for about 10 minutes. When you guys were yelling at Hannah, I came in. So I haven't
is this the person? I'm sorry. Can I ask a question? Is this the person that is behind the tour?
Yes.
Yeah, that's why I said that. Perfect that she's up here.
So can we get an answer to Ali's question first? Can we get it before she starts?
I don't.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so just so there's no confusion, like I said.
Yeah, can we finally get an answer to all these questions? Why are you just sitting there not talking? This is so annoying. This is disgusting. Tom is having an aneurysm. I am having an episode of cringe overload.
Yeah, I told y'all, come on out. We gotta let them speak.
No. Hold on, Ali, because your question wasn't answered.
I'm going back to it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna ask it again really quickly. So Z, yeah, I'm just curious, why the tour and why the setup, and exactly was the point just to tell Charlie Kirk F you, or can you dive a little bit? No, I'm adding more to it, but yeah,
But I'm talking about, is she here to have a conversation, or she's just gonna spew and then?
Oh, the second question. That is a good point. Z, I know you said that you wanted to leave soon. Are you here to actually have a conversation and explain or expand a little bit more on this?
We can have a short conversation. I just can't stay up here long because I have to get on a meeting. But
okay, gotcha.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I appreciate pushback in any respect. Obviously, I'm an organizer. I'm used to that. But the point I wanted to bring up to start with is that I think that having conversations where we say things like, this is so unorganized, which came out of multiple people's mouths, things like that, are directly harming the people of color that are behind this tour, that are working tirelessly to make this happen. And I'm just telling you guys that because I know that you don't know, okay? But the majority...
So she's using... She's using their own fucking rhetoric against them, but I would bet that she actually believes the same fucking soy bullshit. So
no, she has to be able to respond to one thing at a time.
Are you seriously saying right now? I want to remind you, room of black women in here.
I would just like to point out that somebody trying to respond to one point at a time is white supremacy and colonization.
Here, okay? Are you seriously saying that because other people of color are also working on this tour, that we cannot critique when things are done in bad faith?
That's not what I said. And
okay,
you assuming, Julie, you assuming that it's in bad faith.
What the fuck is going on?
Wait, I don't let people talk over me either. And I see that that's what you do. That you try to bully people.
Exactly,
and
Alina.
Exactly.
That's very, but I'm just telling you that there are people of color that are working behind the scenes that is harmful to.
Yeah, and as a person of color, as black women who have also been organizing, we have a right.
This is how we're going to do it. We're going to let
respond to what she said, please?
Yeah, we're going to let Julianne respond, and then we're going to let Ice say something, and then we're going to go back in that order and let other people speak.
So are we not able to critique when things are done in bad faith? When it's by another person of color?
Why are you assuming that they're done in bad faith?
I mean as if they are done in a myopic way, they can lead to significant harm. It can lead to a net negative of the overall leftist movement, which I don't believe that most people are.
How is this a net negative? Explain.
Right.
Yeah,
right. In terms of a leftist movement, I think from bare bones, having two white men as a forefront is always going to be a net negative. No movement has ever helped by having white people at the front. I'm going to tell you that right now.
So,
and
Julie,
that's not even because. Why are you talking over me?
Do you know the
Wow, speaking over marginalized voices. Wow, this is disgusting. Can't believe this organizer thinking she can speak over not organized voices. She can speak over, not that Not that black women's voices can't also be organized. I want to make sure that I acknowledge that they could be. Black voices can also be organized just as much as white voices.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
Arab people can be white.
Can we establish
it's not a
this?
race. Arab is not a race.
Y'all, please. I just also want to note again, right? So I do think it's really interesting, and you're not the only one doing this. I will say the comments are doing this either. The weird idea that nobody in here has ever done any sort of any kind of organizing or whatever. Why do you think Tabby said what Tabby said, what I said, what I said?
Nobody said that.
You did say that.
Wait,
You did,
I
though.
said
You
that
made-
nobody has organized anything? That
Yes.
came out of my mouth.
You literally did. I don't know if you forgot, but it was
That was
something.
the first
No,
thing you
I
said.
said organize. No, what I said specifically, Ice, was that organizing people, 50 people to go out of state is not an easy job.
Nobody
That's
said it
what I
was.
said.
Nobody said.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that she said that none of you organized, though. It doesn't matter if nobody said this. She didn't. I didn't hear her say that that none of them have ever done any organizing. I didn't hear this. I don't think this happened.
It was. But what I'm trying to say.
Wait. Was that me saying that nobody?
No.
has
Yes,
ever
and
organized?
yes, because I specifically.
That's not what that means.
And that's not what
Y'all,
we said.
can I please finish?
Okay.
So I specifically
She's being disingenuous. You started
How
off
is that
by saying
disingenuous?
you started off by saying you don't know how hard it is to organize 50 people. That's where you
That's not
assume.
what I said.
I also specifically like to say that I was one of the people. I would like to say that I was one of the people who have been specifically saying that this is severely disorganized, and that's when you came in and you said that.
talking about.
You know,
Sorry.
no,
this is
how about
exactly my
wait?
point.
Sorry.
This is exactly my point.
Go ahead, Ice,
Perfect.
and then we're
This
gonna.
is
I think I got
exactly
this in
my
order.
point. I think it's fucking ridiculous for your. You know what? I think it's fucking ridiculous for you, a white woman, to tell me, a black woman who has done several organizations for black communities, for people of color, for houseless people, houseless youth, just the youth, about me not knowing anything about organization. I think that's fucking hilarious. As somebody who's done exactly what you're doing, I'm telling you right now, it's incredibly disorganized. Maybe it's a short time period, and that's the reason why, but you're shit at your job. What I am saying, right, is on top of that, you know what, even forget everything else, because Elena brought up an excellent point. You want to come up here and you want to wank yourself off to the work that black people, marginalized people are doing. But then at the same time, you won't even put them at the front line of your bullshit ass website. Shut the fuck up. You useless ass, lipless ass.
Bro, this is so obnoxious, bro. Ay, this is painful, dude. Ugh. It's fucking painful, dude. I hate this shit so much. It's always the identity politics where they'll do something like screaming and yelling and kind of bullying somebody over nothing, right? This is if a black woman goes out into public and just walks out there butt naked on the fucking streets with kids and everybody around just walking butt naked down the road, and then when she gets arrested for it or people get upset about it, she says oh, it's not my problem that your colonizer mind has issues with the black woman body. There's always got to be some excuse that is your blackness that makes everything you're doing okay, and it's always got to be your skin color that is why other people have a problem with you. It can never be just you are a problem. It's always got to be your skin color is the fucking problem.
Assless, loser ass bitch. Don't ever come here and talk to black people like that again. Quit a crunching nonsense human. Anyway.
I gotta say one last thing. This is Z's why I left the left moment. Yeah, this is correct. This is the type of shit that we hear when somebody gets chewed out and then they're well, this is exactly why I left the left. But this is why it's insanely important to make a very big deal about the fact that these are not fucking liberals. These are not Democrats. They, at the beginning, made a very big deal about the fact that they don't like Democrats, that liberals are uninformed voters and shit like that. These are not Democrats. Okay? These are not Democrats. Please stop conflating these fucks with Democrats.
Anyway, so I'm just going to talk about why we're doing the tour, since none of y'all know how to have a proper conversation. So the reason for this spot.
What happened?
Did one of the mods just kick her? One of the mods just kicked her, didn't they?
the guys, don't skip her. I actually want to have a
Wait,
one-on-one
no, who
conversation
dropped
with her.
them? I listen. I don't
Guys.
like that. Who dropped them?
People didn't do that. I didn't do that, and I apologize. I think it's really,
Good,
really
you better
important,
apologize.
for everybody to hold themselves to a certain degree of accountability when they do something that they shouldn't have, especially people in the public spotlight, like myself, like Parker, etc. Especially fucking white men, right? So I seriously, I want to apologize for that. Now, since those events have transpired, and now of course I'm back in Colorado.
Yeah, I'll say I don't hear. I don't think I've ever heard Parker do this fucking bullshit.
For the last couple days, I've been determining how we want to navigate through this and what the next move is. And here's what we've come to the conclusion of. Today, me, Parker, Santana, and a bunch of other people that are going to be joining the live here shortly, we were able to get 30 creators, every single creator that went on the tour, on a call. And we came to the conclusion that we will not be continuing this tour under the organization of Z. So either Z steps down from the position of being the organizer of the pack supporting the tour, or the tour leaves the pack. And this decision has been made, yes, because she was microaggressive against black women on that TikTok live, but also because she's just simply not an effective leader. And I believe what perpetuated the microaggressions on that TikTok live was just a lack of ability to hold herself accountable when she fucks up. And we've now seen this lack of an ability to hold herself accountable when she fucks up, not just projected on the black women on that live, but also onto many creators involved with the pack. And we will no longer be working with her, essentially. I'd also like to point out, there's another creator live on TikTok right now that is talking about all of this and holding a panel for criticism. First and foremost, all constructive criticism is always invited. Constructive criticism is what got me from being the boy I was 5 years ago to the man I am today, and it's really important. But this live is not a reaction or reactionary to this other creator's live. And I, as well as Parker, as well as all of the creators that we will have in this space, can attest to the fact that we have been figuring out how we want to move forward and what this live is going to look like since before this other creator went live. It just so happened that they aligned simultaneously.
I'm happy that people can call me out, and I really want people to call me out. And I want people in my community and in Dean's community to feel more comfortable with calling us out when we do things that are wrong, because what we did definitely was wrong. We definitely should have addressed it earlier. That is something that needs to be taken accountability from. And I don't want our communities, right, to like just defend us in any circumstance, right, even when it's obvious that we did something wrong. So I want to make it clear that like it's important to take accountability. It's important to address things. I think that's a really important thing to do. And I definitely think it's something that we could have leveraged to get like addressed earlier. And I think that's what we should have done.
Yeah, and I guess like being willing to put yourself in uncomfortable situations and make a sacrifice to hold red lines against things such as racism is really incredibly important because what it demonstrates is I want to consciously deconstruct like systems of oppression in America today. And I didn't do that, and that was wrong, and I should have, and I apologize.
I apologize as well. And I definitely think that, like, again, everyone, we genuinely invite the criticism. We invite people critiquing us, and it's really important. We just want to say that we appreciate people calling us out and holding us accountable.
This is actually disgusting, dude. This is disgusting. Those people were being objectively racist to this woman, and they are sitting here and defending the other women who were all being racist to her, and then they're calling her racist for absolutely nothing. For absolutely nothing, just for saying that they didn't know what they were talking about and they didn't know how to have a normal conversation with people, which they didn't. The woman literally just finished screaming and yelling at her, calling her a lipless, assless cracker, and he's gonna sit here and defend them and act like afterwards saying that she doesn't know how to have a normal conversation after that woman just screamed and yelled at her is fucking insane. This is disgusting. This is disgusting shit. I don't know how the fuck somebody like him defends this shit.
It's all good.
I appreciate that.
I want to be very clear and very straightforward at this moment. And I said this to Z herself. What she said on that panel was racist. It was racist. It was racist microaggressions. She was racist She should not have said those things to anyone, but specifically those black women on the panel. Now, with that being said, I want to speak on the point of like racism, right? And even more so, people who call themselves advocates. There are certain people who are saying that they are sticking up for the black community, sticking up for the marginalized community, sticking up for the black people that went on this tour who didn't have representation or were given less than or anything like that. There are certain people that have made videos talking about black people should have had this, or black creators should have got that, or black creators, whatever. Specifically, people who have voiced their opinions and said that they're being advocates for black people while never speaking to the black people that they were advocating for.
Shut the fuck up! You useless ass, lipless ass, assless, loser ass bitch!
Lipless ass, assless ass, loser ass bitch. So she's calling her lipless and assless because she's white.
Don't ever come here and talk to black people like that again. Cause a crunchy nonsense human.
And then calls her a crispy, crunchy nonsense human. I'm sorry, that sounds like calling her a cracker. Like, that sounds like this is all just like insanely racist for absolutely no reason. This woman's coming up here to have like a respectful dialogue, and this woman is just screaming and yelling nothing but racism at her. And the next line is what they call racist from Z. The next line, right here. So now they put her on, and this is what they're calling racist from her.
Anyway, so I'm just going to talk about why we're doing the tour, since none of y'all know how to have a proper conversation. So the reason for this spot...
That's it. None of y'all know how to have a proper conversation. They called that a racist microaggression against BIPOC women and kicked her off the panel. And now, Dean and Parker are leaving the organization over that statement. What's up, Time?
Hi, what's up? I just had a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you've been hearing about this for the past few days, right?
No, I just found out about it today. I've been off the internet for the past couple of days, so I went through that panel, went over, what's his name? I forget it. I forget the original guy's name. Peyton's video on it. And then, yeah, we went over that whole panel. And then now we just started on this conversation. We haven't gotten to the end of it because I know somebody else jumps on with issues with the organizer as well.
Okay. So, do you believe what Z did was wrong?
Pertaining to what?
When she was on a panel with a black woman and how she acted.
So the clip that I just played is the clip that they're calling a microaggression. No, I do not believe she was wrong by any means whatsoever. I'm sorry. My mic is messing up. Oh, wait, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
You can hear me? Okay. Sorry, my mic goes in and out sometimes. I would have to, again, I've asked this question of everybody who's come on. I would have to get an explanation at some point as to how it could possibly be wrong. I haven't even heard like an explanation about how this even could be considered a microaggression.
There was a that panel, I think was that the panel that was calling out the tour and saying it was somewhat disorganized and different things.
Yes.
And then I think the way Z came off was kind of like undermining what they said and saying they were like too loud and different things, right?
When you say too loud, right? She was saying, I don't know that she said that. All she said was that they didn't know how to have a productive conversation, and they were yelling at her, but they after she left, they all kept saying that she said that they were all being aggressive and that this is a microaggression to call them aggressive. But as you could just see, that is aggressive. Like, you can't just say, like, obviously it is like a stereotype to say that like black people are aggressive, right? Obviously this could be a racial like characterization to try to make black people sound like these crazy, horrible people. But in this case, from the clip I just played, they objectively were being aggressive. Not because they were black, just because they were literally screaming epithets at her.
Do you think she could have handled it better, though?
In what way? Like how? Give me an example of like how she could have handled it better.
Not undermining what they said, but saying, okay, if you believe this is disorganized, how could we fix it? And what do you think are the best solutions?
She did. She asked for examples of how they felt that she was being disorganized, and
was that before or after what she said?
Before they kicked her off. Like they did bring her back on a little bit later, but all she did was come back on and say, "I'm sorry, I don't really have time. I do have to leave. I had something else scheduled, so I got to head out. But thank you for your feedback. I got to head out," and that was it. So everything came before this.
I guess maybe you could see how it's not. I just think in a way it's attacking black women.
Do you think all attacks on black women are wrong? Do you think that black women are allowed to be criticized?
I believe you have to walk on a very thin line when you talk like that.
So these women can scream and yell at her. And if all she does is very calmly say, okay, I'm just going to explain myself because you guys don't know how to have a productive conversation, that is too much. She needs to walk on eggshells more than that. Because I would say that is walking on eggshells. If she wanted to be mean, she could have come right back screaming and yelling and calling her epithets as well. And it would have been totally justified. But she didn't. She just said, okay, I'm going to just try to explain what the movement is since you guys don't know how to have a productive conversation. I can't think of walking on eggshells more than that.
I guess so. And there's also one other thing I wanted to say about it. So
wait, chat, you guys can't hear me? Chris in chat said he can't hear me. Is everybody else able to hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
And the 3 words I can find to say how this all went wrong is mismanagement was a big factor.
Mm-hmm.
Accountability was a big factor too. And what was the other word? There was another word. I forgot what the other word is. But have you heard about, they didn't donate it, the money they raised? Did you hear about that?
I don't think I've gotten to that yet, no.
So, from what I have heard, there was a big sum of money that they raised, about $100,000, and no one knows where it went.
Strange. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, what, would you be upset about that if you were a part of this?
Well, it depends. It depends. Normally, when you're raising money, that money is like said that it's going towards something. It's said what exactly they're going to spend the money on. And so normally, yeah, there would be some sort of process for you to get receipts if you ask for them. Like I've donated to organizations a ton of times. If I've ever wondered what they're doing with the money, I'm allowed to request some sort of receipt or something like that where they can show me where my money's going. And that's like there's a lot that goes into that. So the fact that people are just asking where money goes, sure, they can ask. I don't know that that's necessarily like that necessarily means that they misplaced money or mishandled money, but it could be. I'll definitely look into it.
And the way they went about this, I don't believe they changed one mind when they went to Texas A&M, because they literally went there to follow around Charlie Kirk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the movement was kind of odd in the first place. Like, I definitely agree with that. But that's, like, Parker and Dean knew that when they first signed on. So to say, like, all of a sudden now they're backing out because of how weird the idea was, they knew the idea when they signed on, so.
And what I find kind of odd was, why are Dean and Parker the 2 faces of this tour?
They're the 2 biggest TikTok debaters, obviously.
Why do we believe that is?
I don't know, but one way or the other, that like even if there's another reason for it, that I truly I know of a couple of other like black TikTok debaters. They're all very far left, like much farther left than Dean or Parker. I forget the guy's name. It's like a Joby or I'm blanking on his name, but like even all the women on this panel, all much farther left than like Dean or Parker, and they're not really like representative of liberals who are by far the majority of the country.
Like, why is Santana, Mr. Jones, some of them, why don't they have bigger platforms?
I don't really know who they are. Those are the guys who are on with Dean and Parker right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really know who they are. Santana though, like has been platformed by Dean a number of times. And is Dan Malik.
And why are some of the Black women creators don't have as big of platforms, like Mermaid, Tashika doesn't. There's another one.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't really watch people on TikTok very much. So the only reason I even know of Dean is because he debated Nick Fuentes one time. So this is the one time he wasn't debating on TikTok. He was debating on regular platforms. And then Parker, his whole feud with Charlie Kirk is the only reason I know of Parker.
Can we agree that Nick Fuentes is a horrible person?
Yeah, of course, it's Nick Fuentes.
Okay, great, because I literally cannot stand that guy. Why does he have such a big following?
What do you mean? He's far right. Like
That doesn't mean it's good.
No, nobody says it's good, but yes, Jovan. That's what I was trying to think of. Jovan is another Black creator that is just very far left. Like these are like Marxist and like socialist, communist. Like Jovan's actually a pretty good debater. He does multi-stream to both YouTube and TikTok at the same time, and so he's definitely.
I mean, people who
turn my mic up. I'm sorry. YouTube or TikTok makes it to where I can't turn my mic up. I hate TikTok. Oh wait, no, I can. It's switched over. Okay, is that better?
Yeah.
There we go. Okay, when you guys are saying you can't hear me, you just mean you want me to turn it up. Okay, thank you. That is easier. Yeah. So yeah. So go ahead.
People have socialist or communist ideas. It's really interesting to hear them talk to people who are big capitalist people, like the debates they do.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I've had tons of debates with like socialists and communists over the years. Like I don't think that their ideas are like very nuanced or special. I think it's fun to hear people who disagree with me, and that's why I enjoy debating. But it's not the point overall is that like obviously liberals like are in favor of liberalism, which is going to be pro like individualism, pro like capitalism, pro freedoms, pro free markets. Like we're going to have very, very different values from people who are that far left.
But there was an idea I thought of that could counter Charlie Kirk's movement. And first of all, Charlie Kirk not taking accountability for what happened in Florida State, because that person was directly connected to Charlie Kirk, was he not?
I have no idea. I don't know what you're talking about.
The person at Florida State, he was a part of Turning Point USA. And
I don't know what you're talking about. The thing that happened at Florida State, I have no idea.
Oh, there was a pew-pewing.
Oh, okay.
And he was directly connected to Turning Point USA. He was like in it or something. Can we take some accountability sometimes? Do you believe that's okay?
Yeah, of course. But I don't want to go too far off, because initially, like, we were talking about how the woman who was on the panel, like, what she could have done that was possibly wrong. And then you turned that into, couldn't she have handled it better? I agree that, like, it could, like, there's always maybe things that we handle better. But to the extent where Dean and Parker are demanding she step down and they are leaving the movement, that seems really over the top.
What was the NF America tour? What was it connected to? Like Grounds Game or something like that?
You're talking about the I forget. Yes, I think that was the pack. Yes. Let's see. NGG, National Ground Game. Yes.
And I honestly have an idea of how we could have made this better. So instead of going to Texas A&M, why not create their own thing?
Well, again, yeah, again, like I can totally agree that there's things that they could have done better. Like, but again, Dean and Parker knew what they were signing up for when they signed up. So while I can agree that I think this idea is weird to just go follow him around and try to kind of harass him, like it's weird. but like they knew what they were signing up for.
improv.
That's not a reason for them to back out.
No, and I don't know, because I somewhat support Tashika, and I agree, Mike, with what she's doing, and I'm just afraid to like hurt people.
Okay, I mean, yeah, still, do you have like a way, an explanation for how anything that Z did could be considered a racist microaggression?
Was one of the things she was upset about with is them being a bit too aggressive. That was one of the big things, right?
Yes.
And we can agree that black women can be very loud, can be aggressive sometimes, right?
Of course.
That does not mean that they're trying to attack you and trying to belittle you, right?
Well, their argument was the opposite. Their argument was that they weren't being aggressive and that she just perceives them as aggressive because they're black, which is obviously totally possible. Like tons of people do portray black people as overly aggressive when they're not being aggressive at all. They just see they're intimidated by black people, and so they're willing to like get a little, it's like white fragility sort of stuff. But that doesn't, like in this case, they just literally were being aggressive. Like they were being aggressive, and just because like they're black doesn't mean they can't call them out for being aggressive, right?
I guess, but it was nice talking.
All right, appreciate it, man. Okay, I got time for one more call, guys. I would really like somebody who feels as though they can explain how this was a microaggression, what was said that's microaggressive, that sort of thing. Okay, I keep pulling people up who just kind of want to like, I'm happy to have conversations about this, but I really want to get through as much of it first as I can so that I have the information. I saw somebody in there saying, "Why you seem to have a lot of opinions for somebody who doesn't know anything." You're saying the things that he asked me about that I said, I can't speak on that. I don't know about it. You're saying, oh, he has a lot of opinions for somebody who doesn't know. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not going to speak on things that I don't know much about. I don't know if you'd rather me pretend I know about things that I don't know about. Like, I don't know what the idea is there. But yes, if you're in the line, please actually have a explanation for how this was a microaggression and what was said that is a microaggression, because that's really all I'm asking right now. Is it Ada? Or Ada?
Yeah.
Ada? Oh, you coffeed. Or teacup. I don't know what they call it. Coffee cup, teacup. There you go.
I was just, there were like a few spots where I saw things. I mean, and you have to think about this. One, Z was told by the black content creators that were working with her not to go on that live. She ignored them. And she tried to go on there and advocate, I guess, for that. I mean, that alone is just really weird. If somebody says, don't do this, and then she went on and she was like, oh, well, I'm trying to advocate for the people of color that I'm working with, but she wasn't. She ignored the feedback. And what they were telling her is that is a space that is made to be safe for black people, and you don't need to go in there. So just that alone to me stands out as problematic.
But those people said that they wanted to speak to an organizer from the group. They specifically said they wanted an organizer to come on and speak to them.
Yeah, they said they wanted that. The people that were working with Z told her, don't go.
Sure.
Don't go. It's not a space for you.
But I'm saying that obviously when they say that's not a space for you, that's only a space for like black people to go on. Obviously they were wrong, because the content creators who were on this panel said they wanted to speak to one of the organizers. They were asking for people who were part of the organization to come on. So obviously the people saying that's not for you, they were obviously wrong, because they were specifically requested her on.
I don't think they were wrong. I think if she had listened to the black content creators that she was working with, if she had respected their opinion, she would have saved herself a lot of heartache. I mean, can we agree that if she hadn't gone on there, we would be in a very different situation, and maybe the focus would be on what had actually happened in the tour?
Possibly, that doesn't, I
Very
don't,
likely.
yeah, sure. But that, like, part of being an organizer is that you are supposed to go out. You are supposed to, like, talk about your organizations. You're supposed to get, like, eyes on it. You're supposed to make sure more people hear about it so that more people can donate to it and be a part of the movement. And so if a bunch of people are sitting up on a panel saying they don't have any black people part of this movement whatsoever, to me, it makes sense that, yes, she would want to go on and say, there are black people who are part of this organization. There are black people who are working hard on this all the time. Like, the idea is the opposite, which is to just let them make up stuff and slander her instead, which is what now Dean and Parker are doing. But I don't think that that's her fault that Dean and Parker are slandering her.
I mean, I do think it's her fault. I do think one thing is this was just a part. It's very different if you're the head of an organization versus if she was just a regular. Like, there's different standards for different levels of power and different levels of responsibility, right? So she is being held to a higher level than just a random person would be. That's what comes with taking on more responsibility and more power. And if the only reason, like, first off, they had to kind of get feedback like, hey, what about diversity? And then they kind of scrambled there, right? Like, they should have thought of that ahead of time. If you're a liberal organization, if you're a liberal movement and you aren't starting with diversity, that's kind of a sign of something. Is it a sign? And that means, oh, they're actual, schmazzies or something? No, but it's a sign, right? It's a sign that there's some work to do there. Why wasn't that your starting place? So that wasn't their starting place. Then when they finally do add people in, because they're CYAing, right, that they got feedback that there's a problem there, then they're not listening to the people that they add in. That, to me, I'm okay with Z getting canceled because of that, or maybe being removed from power, because this is a really prominent thing. We're not talking about somebody like, does she have a right to show up at a protest, right? We're not saying, does she have a right to exist? We're saying, should she be leading? Does she have the right chops to be leading liberal movements at this time, with as much as we have on the line? Somebody who didn't think about diversity to start, somebody who ignored the feedback, and we can both agree that probably the content creators that told her to not go, that's a bad idea, she should have listened to them. And that's honestly, it's not even so much, I watched the videos, and I do think, like, when I watched it, I was like, oh, is it that, was this really, like, she didn't mean it in the way, blah, 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 right? Like, all that's, like, did she mean it in a negative way when she said the thing? I don't think so. But what really, in terms of it being a microaggression, she should have been listening to the people that were on her team that told her it's a bad idea to go. Like, if she had just listened to Black people that she was working with, none of this would have happened. And I don't think she deserves to lead a liberal movement if she doesn't know how to listen to Black people. Like, she needs to know how to listen. I
think first, like, you're saying that they said that she needed more diversity and that they went and got more diversity. So she is listening, she is making the changes, she is doing what it is that we would expect of her. But then when it comes to going on the panel, you're not asking her to listen, because obviously she had those conversations, like, she heard those people out. You're saying, do what you're told by Black people. That's what you're saying. You're saying if she had just done what she was told by Black people, she wouldn't have this problem. That's very different than just listening to them.
I think the fact that she thought she knew better.
Why do they think they know better?
Because they're Black people, and they're talking about a predominantly Black space, and they gave her good advice that she should have taken. I mean, I don't think, do I think Z doesn't deserve to show up like I said, she's welcome at a protest. I don't think she deserves, like, everywhere she goes, it's, oh, you're a horrible human being. Should she be leading? We're talking about leading a liberal movement at a time when fascism is overtaking the country. Is somebody who is making these kind of mistakes the right person to lead this?
I would say the opposite. I would say when fascism is taking over the country, the fact that we are telling somebody to shut down their movement over a microaggression that didn't even happen, that is insane to me. I have a chat full of Black people on my YouTube side who are progressive and liberal, who think that those Black people telling her not to go on the panel are objectively wrong, and they would have told her to go on the panel, and they would have gone with her and defended her. This is, like, the fact that she just had a couple of people who felt that way. That's her job. Her job is to go and talk about their movement, and those people were just being overly aggressive towards her.
I mean, I think some of it was there were conversations that were happening where they were responding to comments, and she was responding to them as if they were speaking to her each time, right? So she was like she jumped into the space. Like, she was not there long enough to understand what was even going on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she jumped into the space. Everything they said, she was like trying to defend against it.
Well, she said she was listening for a long time too.
She claimed that, but she didn't seem to be understanding what was going on. You know,
what part did you think she didn't understand?
The parts where she was she was trying to respond to people when they were people were talking about what was going on in the comments. I think she said something. She hadn't been there long. I think she even said that she hadn't been there long.
I remember her saying that she couldn't stay for long, but I remember her saying that she had been listening to their criticisms.
Like 10 minutes or something, right?
I don't know. I don't remember, but she, again, I still just haven't heard anything that she's done that's wrong that is worthy of this sort of clapback. Like the worthy of, even if Dean and Parker just wanted to leave and just didn't feel like being part of it anymore, that's one thing. But they're not just doing that. They're going and doing panels afterwards to apologize for being part of this movement in the first place, for not leaving fast enough. They're calling her racist. They're saying that she went on there and was doing racist microaggressions. The same with Peyton, the same with tons of other content creators. Like, we're not just talking about people just saying, oh, this could have been handled better, so we're just going to move on. These are people who are slandering this woman and calling her out for something that just didn't happen. And I've still yet to hear what the microaggression is. I assume it's her saying that that they're not capable of having a productive conversation. I assume that's the microaggression because that's when she got kicked off the panel, and that's what they called the microaggression on the panel. But that was after they were like screaming and yelling at her, saying very racist things to her.
I didn't hear them say racist thing. I mean, that's a whole.
I can play it again real quick. I have it pulled up.
Experience racism.
I mean, I can play the semantics game of whether or not you want to call it racist, but
I wouldn't.
Obviously discriminating against people based on their race, based on the color of their skin, based on their ethnicity, like that, I think is wrong. It's not obviously not going to have the same amount of harm against a white person as it is going to be against a black person, but that's still not something that we want to start to find acceptable within our country. There could be a time when white people will be a minority and the systems could be very different, and all of a sudden we just have a very acceptable standard of people can be very racist to white people, and now things are very different. We have like a pretty, good...
I mean, I think it's an important differentiation, that the systematic, obviously, yeah, it is possible that at some point systematic oppression could happen to white people. It's not happening today, though. So, those are important talking points if we ever want to encounter the right.
Sure, but that would also apply if all of a sudden we looked at people like Obama and Michelle Obama and said that well, these people are super privileged in a ton of ways. So somebody being some redneck calling them the N-word over and over can't possibly be racist because technically they're above them in this that just goes down this very slippery slope of where we're picking and choosing when somebody can be racist or not racist against somebody, and then we're trying to figure out how much white versus black they have in their genetics to find out if they're allowed to say this thing or that thing. It's a very slippery slope to where I think the standard of just not being racist towards people or discriminating against them based on the color of their skin is pretty good standard across the board.
Yeah, you can use, like somebody commented, it just means we use other words for other things. There are other words you can use. Yeah, I agree with that. Just don't, because it's every time racism is brought up, it's the counter is, well, actually, this is reverse racist, Just don't do it. Just use other words. Just use, harassment or bullying. Or,
I'm sorry, but in certain circumstances, there are times when black people do have some advantages, like when it comes to how endowed they are in the back or how curvy they are, and women definitely black people have. No, hold on, wait. Just listen to what I'm saying, please. Just please hear me out, please. Just let me hear me out. Okay,
You're
well then,
talking about the
fuck off
backside
then.
of
If
what-
you're
are you
gonna sit here
seriously
and
gonna go there?
fucking whine and cry about shit, but not listen to anything, I've heard you out and your dumbass fucking talking points this entire time is fucking retarded. That you are not a liberal, just to be clear. Okay, you're not a liberal. Stop calling yourself a liberal. You're giving us a bad name. Okay, so black women are a little bit more curvier today in our society. Curvier bodies are more desirable. All right. Having a curvier body is something that black women are just going to have more often. Same with Latino women. Same with a bunch of different other types of women who are not white. White women have a bit more trouble with this in a ton of areas. This woman was calling her a lipless, assless cracker. Okay? I'm sorry, but if these are areas, we're talking about changing these things based on one area or the other, where we're talking about like, oh, some people are a little bit more advantaged in some areas and not others. Okay, well, this is an area where I'm sorry, but like black women, they're doing pretty well. Like black women got it. They got it when it comes to whether, you know, lipless, assless. Like, I'm sorry, this is fucking gross. And if you want to play a fucking retarded semantic game about whether or not it's racism, I think that you're the problem. Okay, I think you are the problem. And I think that when we're talking about like Latino people, well, I mean, technically they were colonized by the Spanish, and technically they are white by majority of their genetics. And I think that if we play the one drop rule, you guys sound like Nick Fuentes. Like you sound like Nick Fuentes. You guys are fucking racist. You can play all these fucking retarded games you want. These people are racist. These people are black supremacists. These people are harmful, and you guys gotta stop calling yourself liberals. You are not liberals. You are progressives. You are leftists. You are not with us. You are not part of our movement. You have nothing to do with us. We have nothing to do with you. Please stop pretending you're on our team. You're not. You guys give us a bad name. It is embarrassing. Okay, I gotta move through some of this. I'm happy to bring other people on in a little bit. Because so far I've brought up 3 people. Not one of them is willing to tell me what the microaggression is. Not one. Not a single person is willing to tell me what the microaggression is. So I got to move on at this point. I'm happy to get into conversations in just a little bit.
What?
But again, this is what was said. Okay? I'm just going to play this one more time.
Same time, you want that black people, marginalized people are doing. But then at the same time, you won't even put them at the front line of your bullshit ass website. Shut the fuck up. You useless ass, lipless ass, assless, loser ass bitch.
Useless ass, lipless ass, assless ass, loser ass bitch.
Don't ever come here and talk to black people like that again. Crunchy nonsense human.
Crispy, crunchy, nonsense human. I'm sorry. Like, if a black person talks to me like this, I'm talking to them like this. Oh fuck, I got banned. I knew I was gonna get banned. Totally worth it. Hate speech and hateful behavior. That's what I got banned for? Hate speech? Hate speech? Are you kidding me? Hate speech? What? Hate speech? These people, dude. I hate these people. That is, here's some fucking hate speech.